Welcome to part 3 of our Dry December series on the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. And I thank y'all so much for sticking with us through this, I would say, maybe unpopular podcast episode series during the holidays. I just wanted to normalize that you don't have to drink alcohol if you don't want to, because there's definitely more people not drinking alcohol than there used to be for various reasons. And I just wanted to say this is the kind of conversations we have behind closed doors. Also, it's super casual. It doesn't have to be a big, oh my God, life change, although it will trickle down to become a life change if that is something that you seek. So this is not a pressure at all. This is more of just this is what this type of group of people who aren't drinking alcohol do. This is what that world's all about. So if anything, I hope you feel not alone. I hope you're interested in exploring more. And this episode's super great because we have POCF Monique Coombs of the Maine Coast Fishermen's Association and one of my oldest friends from middle school, and you'll learn that. And she started a group called How to Stay Sober, and we're going to learn how she hopes to bring that initiative to life. And thanks so much for being here. If you love this podcast, please share on socials. I'd love to get the word out for more people to understand how great our community is. And if there's anything you want to know about, just let me know. I want to know what kind of people and kind of topics that you're interested in learning in, because this is for you. This is my love letter to you, everybody in our community. This is your podcast. And if you feel it in your heart to leave a review, that would be super amazing as well. That's also very helpful. But regardless, I just hope that you enjoy the show, and thank you so much for being here. And what a 2023. And here's to our 2024. It's going to be amazing because we're going to do it together. All right. Sending love and POCF pride. And you are not alone. I'm Megan Waltrip, host of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast, an extension of an online community created for partners to connect worldwide, find helpful resources, and share stories to feel less alone in this incredibly unique and adventurous way of life. The POCF podcast invites fishermen, family, friends, supporters, or those curious to know more about the commercial fishing community to join conversations as we learn from each other, laugh, sometimes cry, and relate with those who are the faces behind each catch. What do you say? Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. Today we have Monique Coombs, who is a dear friend from middle school in Heidelberg, Germany. I have to bring this up every time, but also the wife of a lobsterman in Maine. And her children are also lobstermen, and she is all up in there. And y'all probably know and love her, because to know her is to love her. She's also with the Maine. Actually, Monique, go ahead. I've just already fumbled. Go ahead.
What is it? I'm the Director of Community Programs for the Maine Coast Fishermen's Association. It can definitely be a mouthful, so it's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Exactly that. And people, when I bring up Monique, they're like, oh yeah, we totally know Monique. It's great. So we were bending your ear at the Workboat Show and at PME. But also we had Monique on as an interview for the marijuana and mental health we did several years ago. That was an IG live that has now been, put out as a podcast. And you can find that in one of the earlier episodes. So I'm really excited today to talk about Monique's initiative, which is called How to Stay Sober. And we're going to talk about her journey through quitting alcohol and how she started this incredible group. And this is part 3 of a series that we've been doing for Dry December. And it's really meaningful that we get to end with someone who's part of our family in the Partners of Commercial Fishermen community. So with that long intro, thank you again, Monique, for being here. We so appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Megan. I appreciate you so much and everything that you're doing. I do want to say, it's kind of probably funny right out of the gate to go from we had a chat about cannabis and now we're chatting about sobriety. So maybe that's just sort of a good place to start, is defining sober, and that can mean a lot of different things for everybody. And I think that that's something that's actually really exciting, for a lack of a better word, around the online community and the sober community, is that everybody kind of understand that it exists on a little bit of a continuum these days, where it used to be such an all or nothing thing back in the day. And that goes for alcoholism too. Like we've talked before, I don't consider myself an alcoholic. I didn't have alcoholic tendencies. I didn't have like major withdrawal, but alcohol wasn't serving me anymore. And so I chose to get rid of it. And even in doing that, though, there are some challenges that come with it because alcohol is just so normalized these days. So it's so good and so exciting to have these kinds of conversations so that people can come into it wherever they're at and sort of meet what they need for support, depending on what their lifestyle is and what their needs are.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you brought up the word sober, because the definition, the dictionary definition, the one that I've been reiterating on this series, is that it means to abstain from alcohol. And the way that you put it is so true, because you can say sober and it can mean so many different things to you. And so yes. So what does it mean to you? And also, how long have you not drunk alcohol consciously and made that lifestyle change?
Yeah, so I'm actually coming up on 5 years. January 2024 will be 5 years for me. But this is my second go around with 5 years. So I was sober. I can't even remember the dates now, for 5 years. And then I decided one day, I was like, well, I can just try a sip of this wine. And then that just sort of fell into like, oh, the wine didn't bother me. Like, I'll just have one of these fun, like, I think it was called Not Your Father's Root Beer or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's totally fine. I'll just have this beer. And then all of a sudden I was back into the like just perpetual negotiations with myself around alcohol. Like I'm going out to dinner, I'll have 2 drinks, or, oh, I got to limit it to this, or I'll only have drinks on Friday. And I was just getting so tired of that again and realizing I was falling back into old patterns. So like I said, this is my second time with 5 years, but I feel a deeper commitment to it. I think that probably comes a little bit with age too, and recognizing that, again, for me, sobriety isn't just abstaining from alcohol. And this is why How to Stay Sober was so important to me too, but also just like, what are the choices that I'm making daily so I don't have to make that choice to drink? Like, I don't want to drink because that really like messes with my exercise routine. It messes with my skin. It messes with my hair. It messes with my sleep. It makes me anxious. And so if I do all these other things, like that question of having a drink just never crosses my mind anymore. So I'm not worried, and maybe not the right word, but like, I'm not concerned about taking a drink, or that it's like this monster or monkey on my shoulder, or whatever the term is, that's going to make me feel like I should slip again. And it is the most, I gotta tell you, like, freeing, like, sense of relief that I've ever felt. Like, just being like, nope, that's just not even a thing. It's just such a relief. I don't know how it is for you, but like, the 2 words I use to decide to describe sobriety, I think, is like the relief and then a feeling of safety. And that's like just super important to me.
I love that. Yes, that is. So what I recently told a friend who was sober curious and wondering, how it affected my life after drinking or not drinking. And I said, life, it's not that my life completely changed, but it's that, I may have 99 problems, but that bitch ain't one anymore. And I don't have to think about it. And honestly, the domino effect, like you were saying, it's like, okay, now can we move on with what we're supposed to be doing here? And like, get that freaking, annoying ass thing that's just pulling you down out of the way. I mean, beautifully said. I love that. So on that note, what are your thoughts on non-alcoholic beverages? Because there is such a wide market. I personally enjoy them. I can't say that I would have maybe been as comfortable enjoying them a couple years after I quit drinking, but it's 8 years in January. So, but I still understand that this is a line for some people. But, there's whiskey, there's tequila, there's vodka, there's wine, there's any alcohol beverage can be and has been de-alcoholized, and you can have that experience again. So I'm wondering, what is your thought on the non-alcoholic beverage? And do you have any that you enjoy, or do you stay away?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because it's definitely Man, they're everywhere now. Maine has like a whole bunch of breweries, and a lot of them are starting to do non-alcohol beers. To me, that's just not for me. Like, when I like to drink beer, it was like a nice cold beer, like on a sunny afternoon, and I like the buzz. And since it's not going to give me a buzz, like for me, it's not something that I miss. And I have no interest in them. That being said, again, because I think the sober movement is growing so rapidly, I noticed like at a lot of bars and restaurants, there are mocktails now. And I do love a cute little mocktail, but I think that's just because it's like carbonated water with some flavor in it. And, it's kind of cute and you can sip it for a meal. It's kind of hilarious to me that they can be just as expensive as an alcoholic beverage, but I get it because they're like curated and there's ingredients. So I don't mind that because it's not like it's like replacing the alcoholic beverage. Like I don't miss the taste of beer. I don't miss the taste of a martini, but I like the taste of like a cute pomegranate carbonated drink. So for me, like a mocktail at dinner's delicious, but I am not super interested in the non-alcoholic beverages. And again, that it has nothing to do with whether I would be concerned that they would make me want to take a drink, and more just like I don't miss that flavor profile.
Yeah.
So sorry. Do you have a favorite one that you like?
I'm just getting into them. Honestly, there's a lot out there, but there is a Pinot Noir. I can't remember the name, but I want to dig deeper. That it's really interesting. It tastes like wine.
Okay.
And it's not.
I didn't realize they were getting that fancy.
Oh no, it's like that. Because there are some that taste like grape juice still, but this one is light, but it tastes like wine. And I'm like drinking it, enjoying with the spaghetti or whatever, the Italian food, whatever I was comparing it with. And it was just so nice to feel that and know that I'm not going to want to drink 30 more to get fucked up. Sorry. But, and then when I went to go pick up they have these NA stores everywhere now, but I went to pick up a bottle and they were having a tasting and she said, "Oh, do you want a margarita, mojito, or an old fashioned?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll have an old fashioned. It's the fall. It smelled like whiskey and it tasted like it." And I was so impressed. I was like, first of all, I was shocked and going, is this really non-alcoholic? But it tasted so effing good. And I was like, okay, that was good. But also like, wow. I mean, it is very close. There's some that are not, but there are some that are. Yeah,
I think
amazing.
For me too, the other thing that I like, to me, again, I just like water and like a fruity drink, but I like the glass. Like I love a highball glass or like a champagne glass. So I'm fine with like grape juice and a champagne glass.
Yeah. No, I love a glass. It makes such a difference. And also with the NA beverages that you might enjoy too, they have all these, what do they call them? I just interviewed Jessa. She's an NA specialist with all the non-alcoholic beverages. And she, it's just talking about all like the adaptogenic, the drinks that give back that have like nutrients and benefits and botanicals and all that stuff in it, and mushrooms and all these amazing different elixirs, And so I will have a list and hopefully I'll pass those on to you.
Yeah, please. Because that's interesting to me too. Because one thing that's nice too about quitting drinking is like if you go out to dinner and you don't have 3 beers, or my preference was like, I'll have your martini menu, is the amount of calories and sugar that like you're saving your body. And it's very easily to replace those depending on the type of any drink that you might be having. But if it was something that was, sort of giving back, had some vitamins or something like that, I'd be really interested in learning more about those. So I'll look forward to that list.
Yeah, totally. And yes, totally with the sugar thing. I hear you. The Pinot that I mentioned that I got to find, the sugar count was really low, but yeah, you're right. Some of them have really high sugar content. So you definitely have to look out for that. But yes. Okay. I love hearing this feedback and I love hearing how people experience the sober life. And yeah, the glass makes a difference, even with water, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need a wine glass mostly. Okay. So when you stopped, was there a moment of, you were just over it? Did you go to support groups to help quit drinking, or what helped during the first days and weeks for you?
I did not go to any support groups. My family and friends, I'm very fortunate, are incredibly supportive. I've never been in a situation where somebody's really pushed for the why or tried to put pressure on me to drink. I have heard stories from friends and others where that has happened. So I'm super thankful for that. Not because I would be afraid to cave, but because that would just make me feel honestly like shit if somebody like really tried to push that. So I've been super supportive that way. One of the things that I've been able to work on a little bit in my role with Maine Coast Fishermen's Association, I run a program called Fisherman Wellness, where we talk about like mental health and physical health and just general advocacy and more resources for commercial fishermen. Is that, it's really unfortunate that alcoholism kind of gets wrapped up into the substance use disorder category, because, if a fisherman or someone tells me, hey, I think I'm drinking a little too much, it's really hard to be like, okay, here's the resources that you go find. It's substance use disorder, because the connotation with that type of terminology tends to be like harder drugs or something that's like more addictive, or, you might think about like, oh, does that mean I need to go to rehab or recovery? Whereas a lot of people that are having questions about, or are sober curious or having questions about their own sobriety, are looking for more, I don't want to say informal support groups, but other types of resources that sort of speak to where they're at. And that doesn't really exist for alcohol as much. And so I think, like what you're trying to do, like what I'm trying to do with How to Stay Sober, there's actually quite a few authors now that have quit lit books, the literature on quitting, that have been super, super helpful. And that's on my website that you said that you might link to. I gave the thumbs up. And so now there's balloons on the screen.
Oh, it's epic.
Back. So I think that reading, for me, I'm somebody that I'm introverted too. So a support group doesn't necessarily is as appealing to me as like being able to read at home and like talk to my husband. And so I think that there are new and more resources becoming available for people that are sober curious, so that it does kind of meet them where they're at, as opposed to sort of those longer standing like recovery options, like an Alcoholics Anonymous or recovery meetings or something like that. Like I said, like there's a lot of different levels of sobriety. It exists on a continuum. And so that means that we also have to try to find solutions and resources that meet people where they're at on that continuum, instead of that sort of one size fits all.
I love that. And so this is where How to Stay Sober was born. It's like,
yes.
So tell us what is How to Stay Sober and what are your intentions with it? It's very exciting. Actually, let me, if you don't mind, I want to interrupt and I want to read this post that you made. This is your most latest post on Instagram, which is How to Stay Sober. She said, I've been working on my website here and there and added a section for how to stay sober. Most of my site is dedicated to stuff that pertains to the fishing industry. So perhaps it seems like a weird fit, but I'm going with it. I'm so glad you are, Monique. So are others. It's not super easy being the wife of a fisherman or the mom of two fishermen. I worry a lot. And when you worry a lot, you got to find a lot of different ways to cope, or else you might find yourself in a situation where you want to take a drink. I mean, yes, relatable AF, girl. Okay, please take the floor. How to Stay Sober. Tell us.
It was just sort of a whim, I think, because again, like when you think about drinking and wanting to quit, honestly, making the decision to quit is one of the hardest things. But then even harder is finding the tools to stay abstinent or stay like not drinking. And so for me, I found that I did have to find a number of different modalities to cope with the worry and anxiety that I feel on a regular basis as a fisherman's wife and mom, but also just like as a human being in this world today. And that sometimes the decision to not do something requires a whole bunch of decisions to do other things. And I wanted to just talk more about that. One, I like to write like you do, and just like kind of organizing my thoughts and trying to meet others where they're at. Because again, like I like talking about sobriety and why I choose not to drink. I like talking about health and fitness and reading and podcasts, and it makes that finding that connection with other people, whether they're other partners of commercial fishermen or other people that don't drink or have struggled with drinking, like when you feel less alone, again, that's just something that sort of helps you level up. And so it was sort of a whim, but also not, just because like I have read quite a few books, quite a few quit lit books. And so there are, like I said, more and more resources becoming available, more of these conversations starting to happen. And I just wanted to be a part of it. So it is on my website. I do have like a specific Instagram handle for it. And I'm not like a social media professional. I'm not great at like posting regularly, but I do post and try to make it useful and connecting. So would love to connect with people on that more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to link the page that you have all the books, you're quit lit. Like you said, I love that term. I've never heard that before. But there's a full list of all of Monique's recommendations. So I'll definitely include that as well. So great. Okay. So on to the next. What has the response from the commercial fishing community and others have been since you started this journey?
Yeah, I mean, good. I've not gotten like any negative feedback around the discussions around sobriety. I've spoken with, fishermen are people just like everybody else, every industry, business, career, gender, we all have struggles around different things. And so it's not like it's like this bigger issue because they are commercial fishermen. That being said, there is quite an immense amount of stress and anxiety in that industry right now. And like, again, with most people, sometimes people drink to fall asleep, or they drink to cope, or they drink to unwind. And so I think that there is an interest in having discussions around alcohol use in the industry amongst fishermen, amongst fishing family members, amongst coastal community members. I'm in Maine, and amongst Mainers, winter is hard in Maine. So winter is dark and cold. And so I think generally people receive it well, especially like in private conversations. And like I said too, I am trying to push like some of my colleagues in the public health industry to be more specific when talking about like substance use disorder, and making it more specific around alcohol, so that there are more resources for people that are interested in having that conversation. But I also know like quite a few sober people, fishermen that have quit drinking. I have a few friends recently that have quit drinking. So I think, it really is exciting that there's this whole new sober movement, sober curious movement, even things like Dry December, Sober October, Dry January. Those are all like steps in the right direction that really help people, at least start to explore what that's like to give up alcohol. And I think that those are really good steps in the right direction. For sure.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I also want to applaud you and your team for everything that you've done with the mental health segment. And I would love to know, could you tell everyone what kind of offers and resources y'all have and are working on in that section?
Yeah, sure. So our website is maincoastfishermen.org. I think it's /fisherman wellness. We have a list of counselors that we work with, that if there's a commercial fisherman in Maine at this time that's interested in talking with a therapist, we can pay for the first couple of bills just to break down the barriers to access for fishermen. We've worked with partners to develop an outreach campaign with a company called Man Therapy. And those are some just really cool images that try to meet fishermen where they're at. So they say things like, if you can handle the North Atlantic, you can handle what's north of your neck. And it's all designed in like vintage seafood imagery. So it's really pretty. And then one of the most rewarding things I do and that I really enjoy doing is cultural competency. So I teach or give lunch and learns to either students or doctors, psychologists, therapists, anybody that's either learning behavioral health care or at some type of healthcare industry. And I teach them about commercial fishing, what it is, what's the job description, what are the current stresses and anxieties, what's some of the like commonly used nomenclature to just be aware of, and allow them to ask a few questions just to really try to healthcare workers better help the commercial fishing industry. So, whether that's things like telehealth or offering office hours outside of normal office hours, like starting at 5 a.m. instead of 8 a.m., helping them understand that, if you don't call a fisherman back within 24 hours, they're probably going to be back out to sea and, not thinking about their to-do list that they had on shore anymore. So it's really important to call them back quickly. And, developing trust with fishermen is showing up over and over again. And, building that relationship is incredibly important. And fishermen are really loyal too. So if you do build a relationship with them, like you'll have a patient for life if you can be able to meet them where they're at. And so that's been really exciting. And then we actually, MCFA just worked with the Fishing Partnership Support Services out of Massachusetts on a bill to have more mental health resources and funding available for the commercial fishing industry, mental health, physical health, and safety as well. And that was a really important bill. And I'm really excited and proud of our colleagues at that organization that did that work. And we're just going to kind of keep building it. There's a lot of resources available for farmers, which is amazing. And we'd really like to see as many resources for commercial fishing, because as you know, commercial fishing is one of the most dangerous occupations in the United States. And so the fishermen deserve, the support that they need for doing that for seafood.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Bravo, everyone involved. I was also going to say, what are the best ways that people can connect with you? So it's sober. It's at How to Stay Sober on Instagram. And then it's Aragasta Mama. Did I say that right? .com.
Yeah.
And I want to spell that out for everybody. It is ARAGOSTAMAMA.com.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Say that. It's ARAGOSTAMAMA. Yes. Okay.
There you go. Awesome. Yes. Now we got it. And I'll put everything in the show notes. But what's the biggest takeaway you hope that people get from our conversation and from every incredible thing that you're saying?
That the commercial fishing industry is awesome and full of wonderful people that provide amazing seafood for us all to eat, that is incredibly healthy for us to eat, that wherever people are at or on their sober journey, whether it's they're thinking about it or even not thinking about it, that, they're good humans. And I think that's it. I tried to get that came out cheesy, but
no, are you kidding me? This is the cheese and the corny. This has a home here. All right.
Yeah, awesome.
This is what this platform is all about, that love. Thank you. I cheers you with my wine glass and non-alcoholic beverage of water, whatever.
Yeah. Here's my Yeti coffee cup with no more coffee in it, but that's
right. Cheers.
My beverage of choice.
I'm like, here's my cheers to my semi-empty. Look here, boom.
Oh, awesome.
All right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, friend, and thank you. And happy 2024. It's all happening
in a few weeks. Thank you, Megan.
I know. Till the next time.
Thank you so much for being here. Your downloads, your reviews mean more than you know, because that's how we know that you are enjoying the podcast. And if you'd like to further support the community, you can tap the subscribe button, share with family and friends, post on socials, or write a review. But you know what? As long as you're getting value, that is all that matters. But if you go that extra step, we truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're a partner of a commercial fisherman looking for more resources on how to navigate this unique lifestyle, from long distance dating to communication to finances to motherhood advice to mental health, safety, all the things. We're building more resources on succession planning and retirement. It's going to be amazing. There's even an option to join the private forum as well if you jump onto POCFpride.com to learn more. We are there for you. We got all of the community and all of the resources you need, and they are continuing to grow as we learn what you need the most. We can't wait to connect with you, and thank you so much again for being here. I need to take a minute to shout out our private forum. It is just getting better and better every day, and I want to take a moment to tell you about how incredible it is. So our private forum is a VIP members-only community with POCFs. And it's for you to connect with other partners of commercial fishermen around the world whenever you want, need, or seek support. And the bonuses are that this is the only way that you get access to monthly Zoom calls to connect with other members on topics that are important to you, private podcast series where I publish behind closed doors conversations from guests that you've heard on this podcast. And let me tell you, that's when the tea is spilled. That is the good stuff. It's where they feel comfortable to speak to other POCFs because they are as well. And it's just real nice. Easy to navigate topics so you can join or start conversations with other POCFs as you please. There's no searching and figuring out what people have been talking about. Everything is beautifully categorized. You can jump in to getting married to a fisherman, mom advice, the list goes on and on.
This is also the place that you can ask questions or vent with love without judgment. We know you love your fishermen. We also know that it can be tough sometimes with this lifestyle. You can talk to us and we'll never judge you. This is your safe space. This is also this is the place that you have the ability to ask me questions, seek advice, or get feedback. And this is the only way to currently reach me directly. I'm so excited and proud and I'm amazed about how this community has grown. And this is the best way for us all to commune. It's just social medias and emails are kind of getting out of control. And I would love to have our personal connection in this forum. So this is where you can reach me. There's also private resources from money management to mental health, you name it. It's going to be ongoing, added, juicy memory bank of resources constantly for forum members. There's also quarterly virtual events with trusted professionals that focus on the lifestyle challenges that we have and how to overcome them. And you also get first access to annual in-person events and to hang out with your fish sisters in real life, y'all. So if you want to check it out, you can go to meganwaldrop.com/private-forum, and there is the beautiful landing page for you to learn all about these goodies and how to become a member too. We really, really cannot wait to meet you. And if you have any questions, you can email me and my team at support@meganwaldrop.com. I got you.
Thanks for listening today. Being here means you're a part of the POCF family, and we wouldn't be a community without you. I'm Megan, and this is the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. As always, much love, POCF pride, and remember, you are not alone.